Hi everybody, Taylor here, the sword hunk, and I'm here today with Logan. We're going to be talking about axes versus swords. So Logan, tell us a bit about yourself and what you do and your background.
My name's Logan Florence. I'm a history student at Kennesaw State University. I'm a martial artist, and I'm also a Viking Age reenactor here in Georgia. And in the reenacting community, I'm known as Ethelwolf.
And as you can tell, he's also a bodybuilder, as opposed to me, who has I did a push-up once, once upon a time.
Proud of you.
Yay!
Proud of you.
All right, so quick, like about 3 bullet points. Why are axes so cool?
Axes are cool. You kind of have to view axes within the lens of the Viking Age. You have to look at them at in a historical sort of, through a historical lens, if that makes sense. Through the perspective of you're a warrior in northwestern Europe during the, say, late 8th to 11th century. Why do you want to wield this weapon in particular, say, over a sword?
Right.
The first bullet point is that it's economical.
There's a lot less metal in
There's
that.
a lot less metal in this. A lot of the times the axe heads were actually forged out of wrought iron and either sort of covered or capped in steel, or may have had a steel edge. Or in the case, I don't know how well you can see this axe, but this axe is actually a windlass replica, and it's inspired by the find of the Mammon axe, which is, I believe, a 10th century Viking find. And Mammon is an art style that archaeologists have sort of assigned to the Viking Age.
Right.
And on this axe, you actually have a Mammon dragon or worm pattern.
We'll get a close-up of that at the end.
On the axe, absolutely. But of course, a professional warrior would be able to afford, an artistic, decorated axe like that. But for the common Viking or Anglo-Saxon warrior fighting in the Fyrd or the Herd, the northern armies at the time, this is a very reasonable weapon.
Right.
You can pay for this, and it's not going to cost you as much as a sword. A sword in this era, particularly wielding sword and armor, would have been the equivalent of owning a luxury sports car, essentially.
Yeah.
So this gets the job done at an affordable price.
Okay.
Number 2, why axes are awesome. They're versatile. They literally come in all shapes and sizes. This would have been called what's called in the Norse sagas a skegox, or a bearded axe. You see it because this axe has this lovely beard here, which is absolutely fantastic for hooking weapons, hooking shields, hooking armor, and it packs a really, really huge punch. But again, axes come in all shapes and sizes. This axe would have been called a Dane axe, or a great axe, or a broad axe. And this axe is almost 3 feet long. It's meant to be used in 2 hands. There are some Viking warriors of the more common echelons of society would have probably had access to an axe like this, but later on in the Viking Age, this actually was a weapon of the professional warrior, a 2-handed axe. Most notably, the Anglo-Saxon huscarls, established by Canute the Great, who was a Viking king of England. They were known to wield this weapon and to kill knights and horses in a single blow.
As I believe were the Varangian Guard.
The Varangian Guard. The Varangian Guard were Viking mercenaries who served the Byzantine emperor in Greece, in medieval Greece. And the locals and soldiers around them referred to them as the axe-bearing foreigners, or the axe-bearing guard. So this weapon actually saw use in the Mediterranean, and to be very, very devastating and very, very effective. In fact, it was Harald Hardrada, who was one of the Viking kings who claimed the English throne in 1066. He was a known member of the Varangian Guard, and he actually was known to use an axe very much like this. And according to some historical accounts, he went as far east as the River Jordan doing battle for the Byzantine Empire. So third point about axes, covered versatility, all shapes, all sizes, one-handed, single-handed, little hatchets. Even earlier in the Viking period, you would have had a throwing axe, a Francisca.
Right.
But the third point that I can make about axes within this period is that they pack a punch. They pack a huge punch. Particularly an axe like this. We have accounts of an axe like this killing armored knights in a single hit, killing the horses those knights rode in a single hit. This is an absolutely devastating weapon. You're getting all that power behind this thin blade.
And all of the weight is at the end.
At the end. It's physics. It's physics at that point. Let's say Taylor is in chain armor. He's in mail. Even if this axe does not cut through that armor,
that's still a huge blow that has just impacted my chest.
Internal bleeding, broken ribs, organ damage, all sorts of nastiness. It's a vile weapon. and you really just need to get that one good, clean shot in to end somebody. Where a sword is can be a little bit more fluid. If you nick someone or do a sliding cut, they're probably going to be able to keep fighting. With an axe, you're not going to see that as much. It's gonna hack, it's gonna cleave, it's gonna bust you open, it's gonna ruin your day and kill you.
So, on to swords. Why are swords so cool? Well, first of all, point number one. I have here about 32 inches of lethal killing efficiency.
This is actually almost 32 inches. So. Yours is more actually about 3 feet, actually.
Yeah. So, the entire part of this blade is lethal. So if I hit him with here, all along the blade, I can deliver a cut. Second, protection. I have length and I have hand protection with this cross guard, and in order for him to injure my hand, he has to get all the way down this. If he's wielding that axe two-handed, his hands are incredibly vulnerable. So even if I catch him mid-swing just the right way, boom, boom. So
knuckles. I probably can't even grip my weapon anymore.
Right. And probably my favorite bit is reach. I don't have to get too close. He has to get a lot closer to me to hit with that axe than I have to do with this sword. All I have to do is keep my distance, come back here, engage his weapon. Now he can, if he hooks me, but I do have a lot of reach. I have a thrust, and I think the sword is it might not be more versatile, but it is versatile in different ways.
I would actually say that it is more versatile. The axe, especially this axe, it does have a little bit of a horn on it, so you can stab, but it doesn't do that job nearly as well as a sword.
Right.
So the sword is going to have the reach advantage. Again, if I'm a professional warrior, if I'm like a Huskarl in the Viking Age, I can rely on my helmet and my armor and my shield on my back, because a lot of times these professional warriors wore their Viking round shields on their back while they wielded these two-handed axes. So I can rely on that protective force and help me close the distance and land that killing blow. I'm going to be willing to take that risk. But generally, if I don't have any armor on, which did occasionally happen, I believe at the battle of, there was a Viking battle right before Hastings, I'm blanking on its name, Stamford Bridge. Bridge. The Anglo-Saxon King Harold actually caught Harald Hardrada with his pants down. His army just got off the ships and they didn't have armor on. So we do see that happen, sword versus axe.
So if that happens,
armor, no armor.
I want all the protection and all the distance between myself and my opponent that I can get.
If you're a swordsman fighting an axeman, stab.
Yeah.
Stab. Keep your distance, because it's going to be effective. You're going to buy time, and it's going to work out for you.
And if you have an offhand weapon, use it. Because that's a lot for me. And if you don't have anything in your other hand, grab that. And it's going to... Now, this is down to where main strength comes into play, because if he's bigger and stronger than me...
or just basic physics.
Yeah. But this, if I have to stop this in mid-flight, and he's swinging it at me, this is better than getting my head
It'll save your life in battle. It absolutely will.
So, that's, now, cons of the sword. Again, that's bigger, that's heavier. This is shite against armor, unless I thrust. Cons of the axe, I think we already talked about.
Cons of the axe, it's not a defensive weapon, really. It has a few defensive properties. I can use the shaft of the axe to block blows, but that's really about it.
Yeah.
The axe is all about timing.
Especially if it's two-handed.
Staying out of his reach, and then just turning on the offense, turning on the aggression. Not a lot of defensive properties. It's heavy, it can be unwieldy. In fact, this is about as small as great axes would have come. This blade length is about 7 inches. A Huskarl's axe by the 11th century actually would have been 9 inches, 2 more inches larger than this. And there are some finds that are as big as 15, 16,
and
17,
some had the really big
18 inches, and they were as tall as a man. Some of them were 6 feet tall.
Yeah. Well, this has probably gone about longer than we intended already. So real quick, let's close with favorite axe wielder.
Favorite axe wielder. You know, actually, just because I think it's an interesting homage to the axe. Outside of the Viking Age, King Richard the Lionheart at the Battle of Jaffa, Jaffa, J-A-F-F-A.
Jaffa.
Jaffa, yeah. He
Something
was
like
actually
that.
known to use the Dane axe, which he called the English long axe.
Right.
And he kind of came to the rescue and saved the day with the axe, and he wielded it to great efficiency.
Yeah, Bertrand de Guesclin was also famous, but I think my favorite story is probably Robert the Bruce breaking his axe at the Battle of Bannockburn. I think he broke it on a guy's helmet.
He did. He actually killed the knight. Yeah. He was lancing against a knight. The English knight had a spear or something.
Very cross about it. Very cross.
Very, very, very cross about it.
Anyway, I have been Taylor. This has been Logan. Hope you enjoyed. Cheers.